cereal, Pop Tarts. What do these things have in common? They hate you and they hate workers. Now, I'm pretty sad about this, all right? Because I personally like Rice Krispies, but apparently they also hate workers. They hate paying people fair wages. They hate severance pay. They hate all of these things, all right? They're bad. They're evil. And that's sad. Why do I come to this conclusion? Well, my good viewer, that's because we're talking about Kellogg. Now, the company Kellogg, and they have their hands in a lot of different products that you may not even know of. Can I get a little list? Let me see. Can I pull up this list real quick? I think The Amazing Merrick posted it. Yes, they did. Special K, Housetown, Pop-Tarts, gone. Cheez-Its, gone. Frosted Flakes, Rice Krispies. Look at that. Apple Jacks. Fruit Loops. Normal Frosties. Oh my gosh. Tacos. And I don't know if anybody cares about the rest of this shit. Sandies. Oh my gosh. Raisin Bran. Oh my gosh. So all of these are now cringe. Why? Why, you ask? Well, here's the big reason. Kellogg workers have been on strike. Now, if you remember, probably you may have heard passively or actively through some of the people that you may listen to, or just things that you've heard. There was a big strike going on at Kellogg, a lot of their factories, a lot of their plants where they make it a cereal, because there's a 2-tier compensation issue going on in Kellogg. And so a lot of workers joined in, and basically Kellogg was one of the first companies, the Kellogg workers were one of the first companies to kick off Striketober, where a lot of other companies' workers decided to go on strike because of the unfair treatment that they were getting. Once again, almost every single one of these companies has been making records amounts of money, especially during the pandemic. People are staying home, they're eating more treats and stuff like that. But these workers weren't being paid adequately for the work that they've been doing, and the company couldn't care less about them, their families, their lives, the country at large. They're never supposed to. That's why they're companies. Okay, they make money. They're not supposed to do good things. They make money. That's it. And if they happen to do good things along the way, that's cool, but a lot of the times they absolutely don't. Listen, about 1,400 striking workers at 4 Kroger cereal plants in the United States have rejected a tentative agreement on a 5-year contract negotiated by their union to the company on Tuesday. The Bakery, Confectionery, Tobacco Works, and Grain Millers International Union, massive union, giga union right here. Look, oh, this is huge. We love big unions here, don't we, boys? Which represents the workers, did not reveal the votes, but said in a statement that its members had overwhelmingly voted against the agreement. The vote was the latest in several recently in which workers expressed dissatisfaction with the terms negotiated by their unions. Also, Deere did basically the same thing. The Kellogg rejection is similar what we saw with Deere, because they also got negotiated a bad deal by their union and they said no. The Kellogg strike began on October 5th. And has largely revolved around the company's 2-tier compensation structure, agreed to in 2015, in which newer employees earn lower wages and receive less generous benefits than veteran workers. Under the previous contract, the lower tier could include up to 30% of the workers. According to a summary provided by the company, the new agreement would have immediately moved all workers with 4 or more years at Kellogg into the veteran tier. A group equivalent to 3% of the plant's headcount will move into the veteran tier each year of the contract. We are disappointed that they don't want the agreement, Kellogg said. So, this is something a lot of companies are doing, and we saw it really big when it comes to a lot of startups, especially the ones in California, the ones like Bird or Uber and Lyft and those types of places, Postmart, whatever. There's another one where like some delivery bullshit app where basically what they want is to have all of the benefits of having a workforce without any of the drawbacks, which is paying them. Yeah, Postmates. You know, like paying them, giving benefits, protecting them from damages, you know, all of that loser cringe stuff that real companies have to deal with. And so one really big thing is that they're now pushing to not only have less employees and almost no employees, a big workforce. They want to give them less and less benefits, and they'll do basically anything they can to get there. I mean, just look at Google. There's another big strike going on there, a big agreement from a lot of workers, because Google is doing about the same thing, where what they're doing is they're laying off a bunch of people and they're letting a bunch of people get fired or quit and they're replacing them with a bunch of interns. And that's or contractors, basically, where they just hire them out. They give them little to no benefits, give them little to no pay, make sure that they're at the lowest rungs, get no support, get no real ability to talk to the company in a way that really matters, because they don't want to have to deal with it. It's easier. It costs less money. Once again, they're not supposed to be doing good things. They're supposed to be doing things that cost money. They don't care about their workers. They never have, and they never will. That's why they're companies. Now, when it comes to this, we love our unions because they're able to actually bargain. Separately, we beg. Together, we bargain. All right? And so unions get the workers together to now be able to bargain with the company in a way that actually makes sense. A single person can just get fucking canned, and it doesn't really matter. An entire workforce getting canned, it runs a factory to the ground. And they don't want that. They lose money. So they come to an agreement. And that's great. But unfortunately, companies recently have been getting more brazen with not giving any benefits for a lot of their workers, cutting benefits wherever they can. John Deere did the same thing to their workers. And Kellogg's workers, ever since October 5th, have been on strike. Even today, still today, when you're watching this video, still on strike. But Kellogg had enough. All right. Kellogg is sick and tired of these greedy workers wanting fair wages and benefits and to take care of their families and to take care of their communities. Kellogg's sick of that loser shit, okay? And that's why they've decided negotiating is off the table, no more. And they are now firing all of the workers to go on strike. They're firing them and just replacing them with no care in the world for any of the people who've spent their lives donating hours of their lives, years of their lives to this company to make sure that it stays afloat, to feed their family, to make more money for the execs at top. But they don't care about that. They never have. They never will. They want to fire all of these workers, all 1,400 of them, and replace them with, once again, those low tier workers. They'll all be low tier workers then. So they can kick out as many veterans as possible and replace them all with lower tier workers. And more likely than not, they're going to start stripping more benefits and more pay from them. And it's weird, right? It's weird. Like we talked about, we said this, that these companies have been experiencing the most amount of profit that they ever have in the histories of these companies. They've experienced massive amounts of growth. But people in the country have been getting poorer. That's weird, isn't it? Weird how that works. Kellogg said on Tuesday the majority of its U.S. cereal plant workers have voted against a new 5-year contract, forcing it to hire permanent replacements as employees. Oh, look what you made it. Look what you made us do. Oh no, you rejected our dog shit agreement that didn't do anything for you. Look what you made us do. You made us fire you. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. I'm so sad. Oh, we'll miss them. Kellogg keeping it 55th Street. That's true. Yeah, they're keeping it 55th Street, telling you exactly how they feel about workers. Temporary replacements have already been working in the company's cereal plants in Michigan, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee, where more than 1,400 union members have been on strike as their contracts expired and talks over payment benefits have stalled. Interest in the permanent replacement role has been stronger at all 4 plants as expected. We expect some of the new hires to start with the company very soon, Kellogg's spokesman said. Thank you, Kellogg. Very cool. Kellogg said there were no further bargaining scheduled and that they had no plans to meet with the union. So they just give up. They're like, the more that you ask for, the less that they want to hear from you. And they're not even asking for anything crazy. Simply, what they were asking for is to stop the 2-tier system, to be able to get the benefits that they deserve after working for the company. But they don't care about that. They couldn't care less. In even the smallest dent in the amount of money that they make, giving out these benefits are not worth it. They want the cheapest possible labor and to give them no benefits. So all of this amounts to a race to the bottom, because that's what this really is at the end of the day, a massive race to the bottom. So this is people asking for adequate benefits that they get from making all of this money for these people, getting none, getting kicked out, and being replaced with other workers. And every time they do that, every time they recycle those workers, they drop the benefits, they give less. Well, very rarely do you talk about companies giving more and more and more. These big companies are stripping more and more from their workers. And if they're not stripping, they're like tentatively stripping or saying, oh, Oh, they just don't follow under the requirements, even though the requirements make it so the vast majority of the workers won't get any of those benefits in the first place. They're starting companies doing the same thing, and people are desperate. Remember the start of the pandemic where up to 60% of some renters in many states across the country were at risk of losing their homes? That's not very cool, I think. Those people are desperate. They don't want to be out on the street. The amount of people who are in food lines right now has tripled, quadrupled in some places. People are scared. People need something. And so companies have used this. They use human suffering as an ability to make more money and to strip more benefits from the workers who make them that money. That was the plan all along. So the more people that are starving, the more people that are desperate, the more people that are scared, the happier they become. Because the more desperate you are, the less you'll ask for to get a job. You ever wonder why people in like Malaysia or Thailand or whatever work in like terrible working conditions and like we're like basically slave labor? It's because they have no other opportunities. They're desperate. They work for that. They work for $5 a day because the alternative is starving and dying and your family dying. So they work. And that's the same world that Kellogg wants. They want you to starve. That's what they want. They're not even hiding it. It's what they're all about. So they've gotten a lot of press for this, for their treatment of their workers here and their inability to work with their union to give them proper benefits for the work that they actually do. We've seen Biden, Bossman Biden, decide to come out and say it's incredibly terrible that they've done this. I'm deeply troubled by the reports that Kellogg's plans to permanently replace striking workers. Biden said, permanently replacing striking workers is existential attack on the union and its members' jobs and livelihoods, which is true. Big true, Biden. Thank you for that. But words only go far enough, Biden. They only go far enough. This is really important. Okay, this is very important to talk about because what's terrible for companies are for people to hate them. It's not that good. They run from that as much as possible because a lot of the times that hurts their bottom dollar. Now, Kellogg has their hands in a lot, so it gets to be harder to boycott them. But once again, you can. All you have to do is look up the brands that they own and you can just not buy them. I typically don't buy Kellogg products in the first place, except for Rice Krispies. I do love me some Rice Krispies. That's my favorite cereal. I guess I'll have to buy an off-brand now. How unfortunate. But words only go so far, Biden. All right. And the likelihood of there being like a bill passed that has anything to do with this is astronomically low. So other people have decided to take things into their own hands. And I got to say, listen. I disavow you harassing companies, sending in fake letters to companies, being super mean to companies. I disavow all of that. OK, it could even be harassment, as some people have said. So I don't endorse any of this sort of stuff personally. I never have and never will on this stream. Oh, no. But other people have different ideas. Other people decided to make a little shortcut for what they're going to be doing in the future. So Kellogg only gets people if they file an application. And people wondered what happens if everyone files an application, or no one, or bots. Let's take a look at this.
Well, it's about that time again. Y'all remember this? Well, apparently Kellogg's is planning to replace workers who are fighting for better workplace conditions and better pay. And so people over at the anti-work subreddit have found out they're using these websites to do it, these locations. So you know what I had to do? You know, I had to cook up a little something, you know? I'm not going to try to explain exactly what this does. I'm just going to show you. Go ahead and run the code. Paste when I ran on one of the 4 websites. Starts up an application. You need to sign in. Okay, well, it goes through the process of signing in.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Goes says now the privacy agreement itself. Goes says creates an account. Oh, and then it fills
oh my
everything
gosh.
else in.
It's like a Supreme bot.
Including filling out the resume. And then it automatically applies.
Weird.
Application has been sent. And in case you're wondering, yes, all the data is relevant data. Zip codes match, cities match, states match, it all matches up perfectly. I'm still working on the rest of the fields, but not bad for a day's work, I'd say.
Weird. You know, incredible that some people would do that. And once again, you can, People have been posting it. I'm sure if you like look for it, someone could find it somewhere. I can't. I'm not going to give that to you because once again, I disavow doing this sort of stuff to companies. I wouldn't. Okay? I would not. I would not. Does Kellogg deserve the Rob Noor Award? I do think they deserve the Noor Award. I do. 100% yeah. I disavow? Yes, I disavow. Good. I'm glad that chat also disavows. Isn't that right, chat? Don't you disavow, chat? Do not endorse this sort of behavior. We would never endorse this sort of behavior to interfere with the company in this way. Yeah, do not do this. We would never. We hate it. Yeah, that's true. Listen, it's all words. Maybe if you just send them more words, they'll care soon. Just keep on sending them words, and we'll see how that works. Now, listen. Okay, listen. Moving into the future, they're going to be doing more of this as our workforce has been getting weaker and weaker by the year, since there have been less and less people who are a part of unions. We're at a record low when it comes to unions in this country. We have started to see more companies get more brazen about the way that they treat their workers. If you've ever wondered to yourself, why are we getting no benefits? Why do they pay so little? Why don't they care about any? Well, the reason for why is because they can get away with it. No one's bargaining. No one's a part of a union. Nobody has the possibility of making a big enough stink for them that they actually care to do the one thing that they only care about, which is affect their wallet. And so if that's the case, then they can run rampant. They can do whatever they want. This is why it's so disgusting when you see a lot of conservatives not only go against unions, but a lot of workers' rights and workers fighting for better compensation for the work that they do, because they're already so much on the back foot. They already are getting like replaced. They're already being, what was it? People who were striking at John Deere. One of them got hit by a bus that one of the companies that they were working for was using to bus in scabs to replace them. Oh, I remember at John Deere too, there was a big factory that stopped making tractors. And so what they did is they freaking called in the cubicle lords, the people who work in cubicles, to come down to the factory floor and work in the factory to keep the lights on. And it was so fucking funny. They couldn't do anything, literally anything. They drove one of the tractors into one of the ceiling supporting beams for the factory and almost took the entire building down. So, and you know how big those farm tractors are, okay? That's not a small tractor. That's like a couple tons of metal that they just drove into the supporting beam. So, it's not like what they do is easy work. It's not easy work. And they deserve to be paid for that, I think personally. And they do too. I would say 100%. If you've ever thought about it, all right, it is your right, not a privilege. It is your right as a worker to start a union. I would say 100% reach out to some other unions in your area. If you know of them, they may have like Facebook pages or Twitter pages, something along those lines. You may know someone who may be in one. Get in contact with them. If you get in contact with that union, they can probably, they have other union connections and they can help you form a union where you are, or help someone that you know form a union where they are, because this is important. As we move into the future, as workers' rights have been stripped away, companies will destroy you. They will kill you. They'll make money off your dead body, and then they'll laugh about it. They will. This is not like doomsaying, okay? This is not some crazy fantasy. They'll do it very easily, very simply, and they will not care. They don't care about people. So I would say you need to make sure you protect yourself. As long as they are the arbiters of who gets to live a good life because of the amount of money that they make and who gets to suffer until they die, as long as that happens, then I think that you deserve to be able to fight for a better life. Don't you? I forget which strike it was, but one factory called an ambulance. Oh yeah, you're right. That's the same. No, that was the same plant. That was the exact same plant. I think, what was it? Like not even 3 hours into them working, they had to call an ambulance because someone almost freaking killed themselves on one of the machines.